Hey, what's going on, guys? I just want to make a quick video this morning talking about Pinkeye management because I had to treat the red steer yesterday for Pinkeye, and I used something that I'd never even heard of before, and it made life 10 times easier. I've only had to deal with Pinkeye one time since the cows have been out here, and I ended up hauling to the vet for that particular treatment. And so I wanted to talk real quick too about the drugs that we use, because 4 years ago, when we had Pinkeye for the first time, the vet used LA200, which is kind of the classic tetracycline. It's a very large dose injection. It's actually so large that it's recommended giving half of the injection on one side of the neck, half the injection on the other side of the neck. 2 days ago, when I went out to check the cows in the evening, I had no indication of any Pinkeye. That following morning when I came out, this steer was very obviously infected with Pinkeye. Squinting, he was tearing really bad. He was trying to keep his eye out of direct sunlight. He was just kind of hanging his head. He was droopy eared. You could tell he didn't feel good and that his eye was really bothering him. I actually, at the time, was going to choose to not treat. The cows are still on the lease property, and there is no easy way to get them loaded up, let alone to sort one off and get it loaded up to take it to the vet. And I knew that I was going to need full facilities to either go to the vet or bring them back to the home ranch here and set up the chute system real quick to administer that large dose tetracycline. Talking to a neighbor that morning, he mentioned a drug called Draxxin. And he was saying that it's only 1 cc per hundredweight. So guessing, Mac, was about 800 pounds. That was only going to be an 8 cc injection. So talking with him, I started thinking, man, he's calm enough. I should be able to come up and push that injection. So I got a couple doses of Pinkeye, a couple of basically, 8 cc. I got 3 8 cc syringes. So I got those doses and I came back out to the lease pasture, and he was actually laying down. Again, he had separated himself from the herd. He was not up eating and drinking. You could tell he didn't feel good. He was laying down. He didn't get up when I came up next to him, and I thought, perfect. This is going to be, an easy way to inject. Well, I came up, I kind of scratched him. I did the whole tap on the neck, shot the needle into him. He didn't budge. I managed to get the syringe onto the needle and push only about 2 cc's before he stood up and started walking away. Pulled the needle out. I spent the next 20 minutes kind of walking around next to him, kind of chasing him around. I actually got 3 new needles put in his neck at 3 separate times, but I just could not come up and get that syringe screwed in and administer the rest of the medication. And it got to the point that now he knew what I was doing. I couldn't even get up to him to get needles in. And in fact, the very last attempt, he had a needle sticking out of his neck that I thought, well, now I'm not going to be able to get that needle out. This is going to be a problem. Luckily, he was fine with me scratching him on the butt long enough that I could reach up and pull that needle out. But I knew that this wasn't going to work. So I started thinking about using one of those CO2 guns, basically medicated dart guns that you can either buy or some places will rent them out. I started calling around. My vet clinic did not rent one out. A few of the other vet clinics in town didn't rent one out. When I called the vet and asked about a dart gun, he said no, but we do sell a medication lance, is basically what he called it. So what this is it's essentially just a 44-inch long injection spear. And some of you guys might be saying, yeah, I've seen that before. I had never heard of this, and it amazed me after I talked to the neighbor that I had been talking to that morning, and even a few other people, and shown them pictures of this thing. They all said, people that grew up on farms, they all said, oh yeah, we used to use those for hogs all the time, or we used to use those for cattle or sheep or whatever. I have never heard of this. In fact, I've never even, seen one of these for sale. At my vet, it cost me $100. It's made by Ideal, which, if you're familiar with Ideal, they make a lot of the, they make this syringe. This is stuff that you can buy at Tractor Supply or Mills Fleet Farm. Needles, syringes, a lot of the animal medication stuff Ideal makes. So it's called a Safety Flex Pull Syringe. The needle just goes right on the end. Now, it's meant for smaller doses because you only have 10 cc's. That's all you get out of it, but needle goes right on the end. This all comes apart so you can clean it all. It's fairly large. place where the medication comes out. I know a lot of places say for intermuscular injections for full-size cattle, 16 gauge, 1.5 inch is the way to go. You can get to 18 gauge, 1.5 inch when you're dealing with calves, or maybe even 20 gauge. But again, you have one shot to basically come up to the animal, hit them, and then you're gonna make that injection before the animal takes off. So 16 gauge, shot that medication in there really, really nicely. So I gave that injection of Draxxin at about 4:30 in the afternoon yesterday. And when I went out and checked the herd this morning at about 6 a.m., he seemed totally clear. His eye was all the way open. It wasn't cloudy. It wasn't teary. He was eating. He was excited to see me. He came right up to get some scratches. He just seemed like in a little over 12 hours, he felt 10 times better. So I'm super happy with Draxxin. So I'll cut to that video. I was using myself, again, I'm still using my cell phone to make these videos. It was on a chest mount. It wasn't pointed in the right direction, so you don't get to see everything. But basically what I did, because when I came back out there with this, he was still not wanting to let me get close. I basically took a handful of those step-in posts for my poly wire that are also black or white that he's used to seeing me carry around, bundles of those posts. And I hid this in that bundle of posts, and I walked out with some of those protein cubes. So I put those down in a pile to kind of distract him, and then I walked out with a bundle of posts, and you'll see in the video, I dropped those posts real quick. I had one shot. I turned around and I jammed this thing into his rump. So I know a lot of the injections, the beef quality assurance, they want you to use that neck triangle. That was gonna be tough with this, and he's obviously not gonna be processed, so we're not worrying about ruining some of those higher end cuts of meat like the rump. So it was a nice big target. I went a little bit low. Again, if you slow the video down, you'll see I went a little bit low on that injection, but it had to be done quickly. I only had one shot. I got it in, all was good.
Come here, girls. Come here, Mama. Hey, buddy. Ugh, Draxxin in my mouth. That's not good. Well, needle kinked. Hopefully that went in. Oh, that stuff tastes horrible. Well, hopefully we got it in. Like you saw, the needle kinked and it was leaking a little bit around the metal connector there. So I'm hoping that it didn't just shoot out the sides. It actually went in the needle, but that's the only problem doing it this way, is you don't know for sure if the medication actually went in because it's so far away from you. But that's about as best as I'm going to be able to do. We'll see.
This thing is definitely going to be a lifesaver coming up. And then again, having tame cattle used to you being close to them, man, I'm not worried about Pinkeye anymore. Obviously, I would rather not be giving drugs to these animals, but if they get Pinkeye, they get Pinkeye. And this is a really quick, slick way to get it treated. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, comments, sarcastic remarks, leave them down below. I am curious, for everyone out there who either is running cattle or not, have you heard of this before? And why is this not more popular? So let me know. Thanks, guys.